Alright, welcome back to the channel. So let's jump right into it. So we have to throw this in very quickly today. Trying to knock this out and not take lunch or not eat up too much of my time, since we did not get this done at night. So we got our flywheel, flex plate. Still messing that up. I'm gonna get that right one day. Got some washers for spacers, and we got a flex plate in. So this is the flex plate that they sent us. The company that sent this is L&I Tuning and Racing. I'll show you that here in a second. I did not know if it was a SFI certified. I said that back in some of the comments, but it actually is. So this one is one that he has used. They've used it to make over 2,400 horsepower to the wheels on multiple applications. This company does a lot of Coyote stuff. So here is their name. L&I Tuning and Racing. LI, I guess. Tuning and Racing. So that's who we bought it for. They were recommended highly by TKM. And yeah, so you got 6 bolts on here. And Mike pointed out yesterday. Mike, where were you seeing the different pattern?
Right here. So you see these ears here are shorter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Here. So you see the holes.
Oh, because these are lined up with that out there, and this is inset in just a little bit. Okay, so Mike did catch yesterday that there is 2 different patterns, and LI, whenever I called them, that's what he said. He said, no, you should have 2 patterns. You're only gonna use 3 of the bolts. So a lot of the LS guys do it where they have the 6-bolt converters and they only use 3 bolts, and he said that all of their cars that have made 2,400 horse to the wheels on a Turbo 400, they've only used 3 bolts on a pattern. So I checked this the other day. This flex plate, when you index it just right, you can get the 3 bolts in it. So that's all that's supposed to be put in, is just the 3 bolts. And then he drop shipped the flex plate, but this come directly from him. So this is your adapter to go from your Ford motor to your GM transmission, to go from the Coyote to the Turbo 400. So if you need one of these, you can hit up LI Tuning and Racing. They're down in Florida, and they can ship this right to you. So this piece right here just goes over your converter. That has to be tapped on because it's a pretty tight fit. And then when you come under the car, it will go up inside there like that. So that side will sit in there like that, whereas this side will be hammered onto the converter. So that's what's gonna line everything up and center everything. And I just called Chris with the Night Train. They own Tri-County Transmissions, and asked him if I should Loctite the bolts to go into the motor. And he said, yeah, that he probably would. He would recommend doing that and to use blue Loctite. So that's what we're gonna use. They make a ton of freaking power over there, and they build transmissions for a living and assemble all their race cars. So if that's what he says do, then I trust him and recommend, his recommendations. This is what we're going to use, ARP stud bolts. So these were only, I don't even know if I got a receipt. They were like $38, $45 ish in there. And from the dealer to get the bolts for these bolts, they're like over $50, right over $50. My cost is a shop, and they are torque to yield one-time use. So that is the part number for the ARP flex plate bolts. And that's going to be, as you can see, a 4.6, 5.4, and a 5.0. So we're going to get all this installed, figure all this out, and get at it. Now the trans fluid that we are putting in this is the same stuff that Turbo John uses. I think Randy uses that. Could be completely wrong. John said that they all use it. So like John, Brian, all of them, they have switched to it. So it's the Castrol Blue Hydraulic Plus IS046. Went ahead and bought 5 gallons of it at the local rallies. You can get it right at the parts store, and they sent it to me. So that's what we're using for our transmission. All right, so what are we doing? What are we going straight to the amount that it calls for?
Huh?
Like, do you do it in steps or?
I'm going, no, straight to 70.
So 70 foot-pounds.
Yep.
In a crisscross pattern?
Yep. Just like that, just mark the one I started with, there, there.
All right. So what else we got left? And we did put Loctite on all these. So with your ARP, I mean, if you're new or you don't know these things, I'm sure most people do, but you put this underneath the head. This basically lubricates it so that the head of the bolt is not biting into the metal, it can turn. And then we just use some blue Loctite. Turbo John actually called me back also and confirmed. And the instructions with the ARP hardware, after of course I called and bugged everybody, then I decided to read my instructions. And your instructions also say to use Loctite 242, 70 foot-pounds, you know, crisscross pattern and all that. So I'm quick to get on the phone before I read the instructions, I guess, in some situations. All right, so as always, nothing goes right. So what I have in here, I'll flip the camera around where you can see it here in a minute. This is the starter out of the F150. So this motor, the block and everything is the F150 block. But there's nothing left. We went over a couple times on the channel. There's nothing left of the F150 stuff here besides the block, the crank, which the crank is the same as the Mustang one, and the heads. I think the springs were changed in the heads. The retainers, I think, are factory. We actually bought aftermarket retainers, and TKM said that they didn't fit perfect, but that the factory retainers are like good for like 1,500 horse, whatever. We ain't got nothing to worry about with the factory retainers for the springs, but we do have pack springs, aftermarket ones, upgraded and all that. So we're using I was using the F150 starter, but then I noticed I had put one bolt in here just to hang it, to kind of do all the wiring and stuff. And then I had noticed, I asked Mike, I said, hey, do you want to go ahead and throw the starter in right now so we can just check it to make sure everything looks good while there's no transmission in the way? And he said, we don't have to. He said, but you can. Thank God we did it. So we got issues. So let me show you what we got. Right, so this is the Mustang starter. We just got it in the mail, and it's not gonna work either. The bolt, I mean, just like I was pretty sure, the F150 and the Mustang starters, the bolt patterns are the exact same. So I have no clue what's going on with this MMR mid plate. I called them and they said to text pictures of the issue to their number, and they'll have a tech reach back out to me here shortly with an answer to the problem. We don't have time to wait for a tech to reach back out to me shortly, so we had to make a move. So we ordered the Mustang starter because I know supposedly the Mustang starter is smaller. I'm about to show you it on the bench when I take it out because it does not look smaller like everybody has claimed. So I have marked where it's at. I'll show you again real fast. I'm gonna try to leave this mid plate in so we don't take this back off for speed, and just take a Dremel and just try to grind some of this out to clearance it. I'll show you what we got. So you can see that the bolt holes are lined up now, okay, if you watch down here. So if you line the bolt holes up, then we're good, but look at the starter. So you can see how this outer band hits the mid plate, causing it to sit off like that. I mean, it's just hanging right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So that's where we need to open up this mid plate some. We don't want to modify or move our bolt holes because your bolt holes are what sets it off of your flywheel. We just need to clear some of this meat out of here. And it looks like if you line up these bolt holes like this, well, if you line them up, it looks like the teeth are gonna engage. See, the Mustang one don't really look like teeth are gonna engage that great compared to the truck one. It looked a little better. So I don't know. We're gonna see what's going on. The first step is obviously we need to clearance this mid plate to get it in there to see what that's gonna do, because the starter's definitely sitting crooked like this right now. So if you straighten it up more square, then it looks like the teeth will engage. So it's kind of hard. You're literally just guessing right now until we open up that mid plate. So let's get at it. And I'm gonna call that a bunch of crock of crap. So there's the two starters laying side by side. This is your typical reman from Advanced Auto Parts, and this is your OEM F150. Or this is what was on my F150 when I bought it. Now the F150, that motor had 300,000 miles on it before it was pulled and rebuilt, but it could have been changed, but I just don't see, this was a company truck, so I don't see them doing anything custom. But that's what the F-150 one looks like to me, and this is what the Mustang one looks like. So as you can see, as far as room, this is a no-go. This is the one that we're going to put in there because Jason's going to need all the room in the world he can get to build them headers. So let's put this one back in the box, send this thing back to Advanced Auto Parts, because I am not putting this big can of freaking tuna in there. And let's get this mid-bait cleared.